George Orwell was the pen name of Eric Arthur Blair, 25th of June 1903 to the 21st of January 1950. George Orwell is arguably the best chronicler of English culture in the 20th century. George Orwell, A Down and Out in Paris and London. Published by Victor Gollancz on the 9th of January 1933. Chapter 30. Bozo had a strange way of talking, cockneyfied and yet very lucid and expressive. It was as though he had read good books but had never troubled to correct his grammar. For a while Paddy and I stayed on the Embankment talking, and Bozo gave us an account of the screeving trade. I repeat what he said, more or less in his own words. I'm what they call a serious screever. I don't draw in blackboard chalks like these others. I use proper colours, the same as what painters use. Bloody expensive they are, especially the reds. I use 5 bobs worth of colours in a long day, and never less than 2 bobs worth. Cartoons is my line, you know, politics and cricket and that. Look here. He showed me his notebook. Here's likenesses of all the political blokes what I've copied from the papers. I have a different cartoon every day. For instance, when the budget was on, I had one of Winston trying to push an elephant marked debt, and underneath it I wrote, "Willy Budget." See? You can have cartoons about any of the parties, but you mustn't put anything in favour of socialism, 'cause the police won't stand it. Once I did a cartoon of a boa constrictor marked Capital swallowing a rabbit marked Labour. The copper came along and saw it, and he says, "You rub that out and look sharp about it," he says. I had to rub it out. The copper's got the right to move you on for loitering, and it's no good giving them a back answer. I asked Bozo what one could earn at screeving. He said, "This time of year, when it don't rain, I take about 3 quid between Friday and Sunday. People get their wages Friday, you see. I can't work when it rains, the colours get washed off straight away. Take the year round, I make about £1 a week, because you can't do much in the winter. Boat race day and cup final day I've took as much as £4. But you have to cut it out of them, you know. You don't take a bob if you just sit and look at them. A halfpenny's the usual drop, and you don't even get that unless you give them a bit of back chat. Once they've answered you, they feel ashamed not giving you a drop. The best thing's to keep changing your picture, because when they see you drawing, they'll stop and watch you. The trouble is the beggars scatter as soon as you turn round with the hat. You really want a nobber at this game. You keep at work and get a crowd watching you, and the nobber comes casual-like round the back of them. They don't know he's the nobber. Then suddenly he pulls his cap off, and you've got 'em between 2 fires like. You'll never get a drop off real toffs. It's shabby sort of brokes you get most off, and foreigners. I've had even sixpences off Japs and blackies and that. They're not so bloody mean as what an Englishman is. Another thing to remember is to keep your money covered up, except perhaps a penny in the hat. People won't give you anything if they see you've got a bob or 2 already. Bozo had the deepest contempt for the other screevers on the Embankment. He called them the salmon platers. At that time there was a screever almost every 25 yards along the Embankment, 25 yards being the recognised minimum between pitches. Bozo contemptuously pointed out an old, white-bearded screever 50 yards away. "You see that silly old fool? He's been doing the same picture every day for 10 years. A faithful friend, he calls it. It's of a dog pulling a child out of the water. The silly old bastard can't draw any better than a child of 10. He's learned just that one picture by rule of thumb, like you learn to put a puzzle together. There's a lot of that sort out here. They come pinching my ideas sometimes, but I don't care. The silly sods can't think of anything for themselves, so I'm always ahead of them. The whole thing with cartoons is being up to date. Once a child got his head stuck in the railings of Chelsea Bridge. Well, I heard about it, and my cartoon was on the pavement before they'd got the child's head out the railings. Prompt I am.